Welcome to another episode of All About the Bass. I'm Lee.
And I'm Nathan.
And this week, we're going to show you some cool products from everybody's favourite little bass amp manufacturer, the clever chaps at Markbass. And we've got 3 new products, appropriately named, I don't know, are they appropriately named? But named the Ninja. So we've got a Ninja head and 2 variants of what a Traveller cab and a New Yorker cab, but basically like the Ninja. They've been ninjaed.
Yeah, I don't know I don't really know what the Ninja thing's all about. Do you?
Well, perhaps perhaps secretly this will, stealthily wander away in the night, assassinate somebody, and walk back into your amp cupboard without you even knowing.
It sounds like a lot of fun. Well, I'm sure one of our loving viewers will write in and tell us, because I'm sure one of them knows.
So, who is this? Who is the signatory? Who is the Ninja?
Okay, well, yeah, this amplifier's been designed for Richard Bona.
Cool.
Who's a very cool dude. Very respected sort of jazz fusion bass
Yeah.
player and singer.
Yeah.
Sung
with lots of played bass with lots of kind of cool jazz fusiony guys.
Yes, he has. I was checking him out on YouTube last night. He's Bobby McFerrin, George Benson, I think, and there's a whole list of
Mike Stern.
Mike Stern, that's right.
Yeah. So anyway, he can play, and he's got his own little setup here. Now, like a lot of Markbass stuff, and some would say probably pretty much the entire Markbass range. The reason Markbass is so popular is because everything they do is very, very small, very, very light. Watch this, look.
Wow.
I think the spec says that's 2-point-something kilos, which is like, 5 or 6 pounds or something like that.
And you've got very weak wrists.
And I've got very weak wrists, yeah, absolutely. 1,000 watts.
1,000 watts?
Hello.
That's ridiculous.
I know. And then the cabs are both 800 watt rated cabs, which is just bonkers.
That's right, yeah. And you can double up. You can use, you use 2 of them.
Yeah, I think
and really get the maximum sort of volume out of them.
That's true. So, what we're going to do is take you through some tones on the Ninja head. You're hearing it. You're hearing a DI'd out from the back of here straight into our interface, but the cabinet we're hearing in here, and I'm guessing you'll perhaps get a little bit of a blend of this, is this cabinet for now, so the bigger one of the 2, because we think it sounds a bit better. But what we'll do at some point in the vid is we'll switch over to this cabinet as well, and you'll be able to hear. But as Nathan was saying, if you just use one, this head into one of these cabinets, you get about 2/3 of the power out of this head. And if you use 2 cabs, so 2 of these, or even 1 of each, although I'm not sure why you do that, you'll get the full power out of this head. So look, let's start. Just give us some. We've got everything flat.
Okay.
Let's just get some groove on. Get your groove on.
Yeah. What sort of thing would you like to hear, Lee?
I don't know. You were doing a fantastic warm up of do. Come on, let's do the calm.
Well, you heard it. You heard it as that. I don't think I really intended.
That's your warm up routine.
That.
Anything you like that's funky and clean, because this is a funky, clean sort of jazz fusion amp.
Okay. And we use. What is this bass that we're using here?
A Fender Dimension bass, which we're doing in another video later today. So if you think this looks cool, tune in again next week or sometime.
Or last week. Possibly.
Yes,
Who
possibly.
knows? Tune in last week.
Ridiculous.
Well, it's got a thing, isn't it? I thought you were going to twiddle with it.
Oh no! This was I was just letting the guys just be kind of hearing it kind of flat and clean, just to sort of get into it. So
that's with both pickups on the bass.
Cool.
Obviously, you use different pickups. It's going to sound different. Back pickup. Front pickup. That's pretty meaty, isn't it?
it's ridiculous. It's really. I mean, we were fiddling around with this earlier, just sort of going the whole. Everything defies everything. This shouldn't be. This little box shouldn't be allowed to produce this amount of volume, and this little cabinet shouldn't be able to produce that amount of bass end. But due to some
legislation,
wizardry,
some sort of
yes.
EU legislation that Outlaws
So let's dive over to the amplifier. First thing I should tell you, one of my favourite things about Markbass is they use these very, very lightweight, I don't know if they're Class D or whatever, but some sort of very lightweight power amp technology. But a lot of PA brands and brands that have kind of used those very, very high-powered, lightweight power amplifiers have a tendency to sound very hard and unpleasant on the bass end. So you lose all that nice natural depth and warmth. Now, Markbass, right from day one, have used, I think they call it MPT, so Mark Proprietary Technology. So they've developed their own technology to be light and loud. And for me, the most noticeable thing that happens is that what it does is it keeps that nice, warm, old-fashioned kind of bass end that you can get out of traditional big, very heavy solid-state amps.
Sure, yeah.
So anyway, let's go through some tones. So from it's a very simple panel. Gain on the left, a low control, 2 mid-range controls, a low mid and a high mid, 1 high control, a couple of unusual, not unusual, that's the wrong word, but interesting controls, VLE and VPF. Nothing to do with visible panty lines or anything like that. One is called a vintage loudspeaker emulator, which we'll get to in a minute, but essentially rolls all the top end off and I guess kind of emulates a very worn-in
It does
speaker.
what it says on the tin.
And the other one's called various variable pre-filter, which is, a lot of these bass amplifiers kind of have their own sort of what's my signature tone, like Ashdown has the pre-shape thing and that vibe.
Yeah, that's kind of like almost a pre-shape, like it scoops the sort of middle out and boosts the bottom and top end. Yeah.
It's almost like here's a flat sound, but the designer's kind of gone, my kind of personal favourite sound is this, and then on some amps you press a button to get it, and on this particular amp you've got like a dial that you can sort of dial in that.
Yeah, this is variable on this one.
Yeah, master volume at the top here, and then a separate line out control, which is what we're taking to our interface, or if you were gigging live with this, you might take to your PA. And on the back of the amplifier is a little switch that says, do you want the line out to be affected by what you're doing on the panel, or would you rather the line out was completely flat and then the engineer can do whatever he wants to do and whatever changes you make on here only affects your onstage sound. So look, whilst Nathan plays, I'll fiddle and you can see, I don't know how much of a close-up you'll get of this, but as I said, it's bass, low mid, high, vintage loudspeaker emulator, and the variable pre-shape thang.
Let's do this thing.
Let's do this thing.
I'm going to use a pick. I feel safer.
Ooh.
A bit nervous today about my fingers not working.
Fantastic demo there, Mr. K.
So it's very early. I know it's 5 to 6 in the morning. It's too early to be doing this.
So pretty simple to get your head around what it does. Killer sound. I mean, not where would you put Markbass sort of genre-wise? What do you think types of bands that you'd be comfortable with this kind of tone?
Oh well, it's a very versatile amp. I've seen all sorts of people using them. Mm-hmm. Playing all sorts of different styles. I think they're popular for all the reasons that you've talked about. Mm-hmm. Small, compact, light. but loads of power. They sound great. So I think anybody can use these things. You know.
I wouldn't have said it's an overly grunty sound. You know, I mean, if you wanted that sort of
no, but then
an SVT kind of vibe.
Yeah, but you can get that. You know, if you probably just buy a pedal. You know,
yeah.
You know, some of the. Like that amp tweaker thing that we looked at a little while ago, you know, that would be the perfect pedal in front of this.
Yeah.
If you just wanted to give it a bit of grit.
So I guess if you're not into your pedals, you know, again, covers a wide range of genres, but staying towards the sort of the cleaner, sort of more soul-y kind of sound, I suppose. You do see a lot of the kind of the jazz soul kind of legends playing this kind of stuff. So look, that's the head. It's great. And clearly visible from miles away in this ridiculous neon green colour.
Yes, the famous Ninja bright green.
Yes, the Ninja bright green.
They're well known for advertising their arrival, aren't they?
Absolutely. Can you imagine how the whole Ninja thing? If the guy who invented Ninja has gone, we're going to wear these bright green suits like that. I kind of think that the Ninjas would not have been anything like as successful as Silent Deadly Assassins.
Yeah.
Look, there's a ninja coming. Look,
yes.
There's a ninja. I can see him from 3 miles away because he's got a luminous green suit on.
I just had a thought, actually. Not that I ever watched the Ninja Turtles, but I think one of them, didn't he have a thing?
Maybe that's what it is. Maybe it's a Ninja Turtle thing.
Pete, what was his name?
Donatello. Michelangelo.
Oh, were they? Oh, was it there?
Turtles are green, man. They're all green.
That's what it is. It's the Markbass Ninja Turtle amp.
That's what we think. Cool.
So look,
let's talk about this cabinet for just 2 seconds. So this is a 212 loaded with a tweeter on it, and if I remember rightly, I'm just looking at the spec. We've got this fantastic new thing now. This is the very first video this has been in, where we've now got this massive screen behind the camera with all the spec on it, so that we know and we don't forget. So if I look sort of vacantly up in the air somewhere, one of them's got the bigger horn, hasn't it? Yes. So this one,
it's working well, isn't it?
This has got the bigger horn. So this has got the 1.25 inch diaphragm in the.
But it looks smaller.
I know.
Bizarrely.
Well, this has got the bigger flare. You see now that again, I have some PA training here, so that the outer bit is the flare, which controls the dispersion of the sound, but the actual bit that makes the noise sits behind that.
Right.
So all you've basically got on the smaller one, although it's a smaller high frequency driver, the dispersion might be a bit better on this one of the top end.
Well, I think we've all learned something.
We have.
Today.
Both the cabinets have got like a high frequency roll off control. So what we'll do now is, Mr. Sound Editor, please do not use the line output anymore. Please just use the microphone signal. And we'll compare these two cabs.
Okay.
I've left this sound pretty much flat, although I do like this variable pre-filter. I've got a bit of that in there.
That's all right.
And what I'll do is I'll
maybe lose the
cab
vintage
emulator completely, and we'll just dial the top end in and out on the cab, and then we'll try this cab, and you'll be able to see. I don't know how much we're using. A couple of Beta 52s here, which are dynamic mics, which have got a really great bass end. You see them used on kick drums a lot, and I'm kind of hoping that they're going to have the sort of the bottom end and the ability for you to differentiate between the two cabs.
Yeah. So when you're listening on your Galaxy,
yes.
You'll really hear it.
I must admit, regularly when Danish Pete says to me, "Oh, I've just finished editing up, and all about the bass," and I think, "Oh, I'll just quickly watch that on my iPhone." Utter waste of time.
It's like somebody dropping a box of pencils.
It literally is. So try and listen to these all about the bass ones, either with some headphones or through some decent speakers. So anyway, here we go. This is the 212 New Yorker. So that that last sound is effectively the horn completely switched off.
Okay.
So it just sounds like a conventional 212 then. And it, you know, I for the purpose of the demo, I've been leaving them about, you know, halfway on the control.
Okay. I mean, me personally, because I've got the same thing on my rig.
Yeah.
And I just always have it turned right up.
Turn right up.
Yeah.
What? And then
you don't have to turn it right up. You can do whatever you like. Of course, that's why you've got the option. But I just do because I'm lazy.
Can I just, another tip for you guys here as well? The fastest and easiest way to blow up the tweeter on your rig is to constantly have this clip light going on your amplifier. So hopefully your most bass amplifiers will give you an indication of when the amp's clipping. And even at low volume, if you're clipping the input stage because you've got too much poke coming out your bass, or you've dialed in the EQ too hot without compensating by backing the input gain off, that constant sort of transient distortion will cause the coil on the high frequency driver to get hotter and hotter and hotter, and it goes tss, and then your high frequency driver blows up. So don't think to yourself that the only way you can blow up a speaker is by running it too loud. Just you can blow up a speaker by just putting too much nasty distortion into it.
Well, there you go. Wise words, Lee. Have you been doing a night course in the?
I just realised that there has been at some point over the last 25 years of doing this stuff, I have remembered some things.
Good for you.
So okay, so that was that cab. I tell you what we should do. Let's just, because I know the brain has a very limited capacity to remember sound.
Mine does.
Yes, mine does too. Let's just. I'll put this again set like this, which is with the high frequency on about half.
Okay.
Play, and then we'll quickly plug this one in, and then you guys can hear a real kind of A/B difference. Okay. So just do some like walking bass stuff. I was just I don't know.
Yeah.
Is that too boring? I don't know. I was just thinking, well, you can play slap. I don't mind.
I'll do a bit of slap because that's more horny, isn't it? That's
true.
Horny, you know what I mean?
We're good. Exactly the same settings, same riff, please.
It's quiet. That was exactly the same.
Well, so what you can hear is, or what we can hear anyway.
What do you feel? How are you feeling, Lee, about this?
Well, it's an interesting one, isn't it? Because it's strictly speaking, in terms of power, the amp's delivering the same amount of power into this speaker cabinet as into this one.
Yeah.
But we're talking air movement now, aren't we? So what you've got with the larger cabinet is a little bit more bass, which I suspect is probably how it's ported, and the fact that there's a little bit more air being moved inside. Yeah. But just two speakers, and two speakers are just filling the sound out more than one. So my personal feeling is I'm struggling to see. The market for this speaker is the guy that's literally just, I've got to have the smallest rig.
Right.
And if I can save, whatever that is, 6-7 inches off the size of the bass cabinet, I knew I'd get the stair then. What's this? This is about 14 inches, isn't it? Anyway, if you just want the most compact, this is still a good sounding speaker, but it just goes to show that little bit extra size and the extra speaker, I think, makes a big difference.
Well, I think so too, personally. Yeah.
I mean, I might be able to play a bit more out of this, and I'll just see what happens if I set the EQ a little differently. Because, of course, if we can still get a great sound out of this by just adjusting the EQ, then this is still a good option. So,
all right, let's try it.
Can I just say,
yes,
not only, I mean, that's improved the sound, but it still doesn't do the bottom end thing, but it is less toppy as well.
Okay.
Don't you think? Do you not think, or you're not hearing that?
I wasn't listening.
No, you weren't listening. You were just too busy jamming, weren't you?
I was.
It's definitely less toppy. If you were wondering what I was doing by trying to look underneath here, I was trying to find the variable filter thing for the horn, because I was wondering had it all been turned all the way off, but it hadn't been. It's exactly the same setting we've got on that one. So there you go. So what we've demonstrated is the 212 got a little bit more top on it, which it should have because of the driver's a little bit bigger. Quite a lot more bass end than just general air movement. But this is still a great sounding cab, and I can, when you think how light these are, and this is, if you're the kind of bass player that's just going, you know what, I drive a Porsche 911, I'm gonna whiz down to my gig, and I just want my entire bass rig to go on the front seat of my Porsche 911.
Is it much lighter? Because I haven't picked any of these up.
Not massively. I mean, let's just pretend that we're not looking at the spec sheet above the camera and tell me. So one is 20 kilos and the other is 18 kilos. So
not a lot in it. Two bags of sugar.
In fact, that makes absolutely no sense whatsoever, because according to this, the smaller one is heavier.
Right, there you go then.
Do you think that's the case?
I think that's the case when I lifted them up.
How weird. So why would that? That's obviously...
It's deeper as well, isn't it?
Oh, that's true. The small... Do you know what? You can probably hear our erstwhile video editing expert behind us, Danish Pete.
Well, because he's the one that has to carry these things around as well.
Yeah,
He's doing everything else.
This smaller
Filming
one
it,
actually...
editing it, making the tea.
Yeah, he makes great tea. It's about this much deeper as well. So that's weird.
Do you know what?
So this
I
is
reckon
heavier than this one.
I reckon they made it deeper, just kind of get a bit more bottom
Yeah,
end
absolutely. Absolutely.
Do you think?
And, well, look, and it's a different speaker in there, isn't it? It's the same size speaker, but it's I shouldn't talk to the floor because I know our microphone man doesn't like that. But
that's
if
Pete as well.
If you just look at the speaker, this one has got more yellow than this one. This one looks like it's got the wider outer black ring to it, doesn't it? Or is that just an optical illusion?
I don't know.
You don't care anymore, do you?
No, it's not that I don't care.
It's just.
I'm going to look now. Yeah, you could be right there, Lee. Well
it's the same
spotted.
size speaker, but it's obviously a different speaker. But look,
This isn't helping people, is it? This is not helping people.
it is
at home.
helping people, because if you
Or at work.
looked at, go to
Do
our
some work.
website. I'll put a link in the description below. All the exact dimensions are on here. If your van or car or back or whatever can cope with the bigger speaker, and one would assume that the bigger speaker is a bit more money as well, I'll put that in the link below, then of course that's the one that you would have, isn't it?
Yeah.
But if you're going, no, got to have this tiny rig and the smallest thing possible, then that's fine as well.
Yeah.
But look, I think we've ninjaed up here, haven't we? I think we...
I'm ninjaed out.
What other styles? Play us out with something, let's do the... I want to hear just... I think the thing that people are most concerned with a compact bass rig is, can it do the bass end without compressing up and farting and not? So we've got a 5-string. It's not drop tuned, is it, this? So it's just a regular B string at the bottom.
No, it's all absolutely standard.
So I'm going to plug back into this one because I like the sound of that, and then I think you should just take us out with some nice kind of soul R&B groove down the bottom end.
So there we have it. Thanks for watching. I've been Nathan.
And I've been the Captain. We'll see you next week.